It's Do Time with Pastor Steph.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rise and shine. You're on with this Do Time with Pastor Steph. How are you this morning? That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. For this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So, where were you yesterday? Yesterday we were shaking the Monday morning blues. I was right with the Do Time crew, and we talked about some signs your partner doesn't fully trust you. Now, only It's Do Time with Pastor Steph can transition from one thing to the next, one level to the next level, one tone to the next tone. So we started off with our girl Tamika alone because Pastor KL was, under the weather. And we talked about the fact that some of the signs, they frequently question your intentions. Nothing you do is, on the up and up. Everything, there's an angle. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? What's this about and what's that about it? They're always keeping tabs on you. Where you going? Why aren't you here, or why aren't you there? And what else did Tamika talk about? They get jealous over the smallest things. And before you know it, they off into the sunset with their thoughts and ideas and all this craziness they've got going on in their mind. They avoid being vulnerable. You don't want to be exposed. You don't want to put your feelings out there because the last time you put your feelings out there, somebody tap danced on your feelings and you don't know how to handle it and you don't want to get your feelings hurt again. So, Lady Tamika, she's just, herself and let's see, just kind of laid back and so she had to go. So lo and behold, we got our girl Shantice on because, y'all didn't want to hear Pastor Steph talk to you by herself, right? Now, I could do it, but I didn't think that's what y'all wanted. You hear me for the first part of the show. So we got Shantice on. And in Shantice fashion, homegirl took this thing straight up into the air. It was absolutely hilarious. It was almost like watching one of those TV shows where the person starts talking about something, and as they talk, the momentum gets built, and they start talking calmly, and then you can see them kind of stepping back into that time. And she started talking about they get defensive over small things, and no matter what it is, it's just this craziness that takes over the individual, and they start acting and thinking and saying certain things. And she started talking about her former life, but because it took off so fast, you would have thought it was her present life. And I was looking at the screen and I'm like, who's that person on the other side of the screen? And I was like, wow. And it was hilarious. It was straight hilarious. She talked about they test you constantly. She talked about how somebody put a tracker on her phone in the past. And, she was wondering what he would have done had there been an address, and would he have shown up to the location. She talked about how she woke up to find someone just like staring at her. Only Shantice has these stories. Trust me when I tell you. Only Shantice has these stories. So this opening is not about Shantice. More than it's about the transformation and the conversion of God. Yes. When you looked at the transition between when Tamika spoke and Shantice spoke, that's the transition that your life should take. Yes. It should go from one extreme to the next. I quoted the scripture yesterday where it says, "Behold, all things have become new. You are now a new creature." So we talked about signs, that your partner doesn't fully trust you, but it just took a turn into something else that was really important. That was really a shift of what we can become from who we were. What has God done for you? Are you this person who doesn't fully trust somebody because all of your old experiences have leaked into your new relationships? We talked about that yesterday. We talked about that in the chat room. That came up as well. When you don't allow yourself to go through some level of emptying, when you're in a relationship and you finish that relationship, you need to just empty out. You need to allow God to finish emptying you out, because there's only so much emptying you're going to be able to do. So when you allow God to empty you out completely so that he can work on you, so that you can be ready for the person that he has chosen for you. That's if he's chosen someone for you, because there's no guarantee that all of us will end up with somebody. Then and only then will you be ready for the next level of being in a relationship, the next level of being able to give yourself in a relationship. Because my other question is, are you this person that this article is talking about? Are you the one who can't function because you didn't came out of a relationship, so now you're this individual? We're talking about initially being the recipient of this behavior. But my question is, are you the individual? Are you the one who's putting someone through this, or people through this? What have you allowed God to do in your life that is really something where you can say, you know what? Hey, I used to be like that. Yes, I was that person in my former life. I have done things like that. And here, let me tell you how to make it happen. Let me tell you how God showed me. Let me tell you how God can fix your life. Let me tell you how you could be a blessing to someone opposed to being someone's pain in the neck. Yeah. So that transition that took place yesterday was actually something that we can look at in so many different shapes, forms, and fashions. What have you allowed God to do in your life? Can you say that you have allowed God to transform your life, that you don't have to worry about experiencing these things and not knowing how to respond? Or are you the person who's responsible for doing this stuff and you are driving somebody else up the walls? Because a lot of these things would drive a person up the wall and make them not want to deal with you. So you definitely can't be no child of God and everybody looking at you talking, I can't deal with this thing. Nah, that cannot be you. Is that you? I hope not. And that's why you're here on this Due Time with Pastor Steph, because we talk about things from all angles. We talk about if you're the giver. We talk about if you're the receiver. We talk about what God used to do, what he's doing today, and what he will do for you tomorrow. He is the same God yesterday, today, and forevermore. You can bet to believe that you can really rely on the Lord to help make that transformation in your life, that transition in your life, that conversion in your life. Whatever it is you need to happen, you can definitely be a blessing and definitely be blessed. All right. So that's how we spent our Monday morning. Yes, we didn't even get the switch tip. No, well, not in that form. We got the switch tip, all right, but not the way we normally get the switch tip. Yes. Well, today is Let's Talk About It Tuesday, Church Folk Day. Oh, yeah. And we do have some stuff to talk about. So go ahead and get that healthy breakfast. Go ahead and tell somebody that it's Due Time with Pastor Steph is on. And whatever you do, don't go anywhere because we will be right back.
Women once used their hair to draw escape maps in Colombia. In the 1800s, enslaved African women forcibly taken to Colombia would communicate with their communities through braided hair, most importantly for planning escapes. For example, a braided hairstyle called departes, meaning depart in English, would signal that the person wanted to escape. Black women would also record with their braids the obstacles they would encounter on their journeys to help others escape. A river was represented with a braid in the shape of a worm, a bantu knot represented a mountain, and if there were soldiers in any part of the route, they would use really thick braids still known today in the Pacific region of Colombia as tropas, which means troops in English. On top of that, inside the braids sometimes gold or seeds were hidden to ensure they would survive after they escaped. Because of these escape maps of braids, many Africans were able to escape and form the famous free settlements known as palenques. Some of you may have heard of San Basilio de Palenque, which is one of the first free black towns in the Americas. It's also one of the only remaining palenques in Colombia. It can still be visited if you're in the Cartagena region. Today, this rich history of braids is celebrated every year on May 21st at the Afro hairdressing competitions in Cali, Colombia. May 21st is Afro-Colombian Day, but it also marks the abolition of slavery in Colombia in 1851.
Good morning, and good morning again. Welcome back to It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Did you check out that history about braids? Now, for years, I've heard that, in slavery times, braids meant something. It was a slavery way of getting out of things. And, it was really very interesting. And boy, we've got some rich history Boy, talk about some ingenuity. Oh, those slave owners could not keep up, even if they wanted to. So let's say good morning to my due time viewers. If you're in the room, you're going to have to check in. Other than that, I don't know you're here. Let's say good morning to our girl, Ketty. Hey, Ketty. And we got our friend Terrence in the room. Hey, Terrence. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got our girl, Vivian. Yes, V, from our Socially Conscious segment on Wow Wednesdays. Good morning. Good morning, Vivian. I thought I saw Serge's name up here. Oh, I did. Hey, Serge. How are you? Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, we got our girl Tamika in the room. Hey, Tamika. Good morning. How are you? Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And we've got our girl and the ladies who hold it down in the background for us. Good morning, Shantice. Good morning, Anika. Hey, thank you so much for helping us hold it down. So, on Tuesday mornings, we always have our little trivia. I like for you to join me up in this chat room. This morning, we're talking about a word from our divorce lawyers who said that they have heard the weirdest and pettiest reasons for their clients splitting up. And man, some of the stuff took them by surprise. So let's see what they threw up in this list. Somebody says, not my story, but a friend who is a divorce lawyer. While a man was having sex with his wife, a condom fell out of her. They never used condoms. Wow. Talk about telling on yourself. Yo, you don't clean up afterwards? Yo, come on. Oh, my goodness. Wow. Now that's one for Vivian's Wow Wednesday. Yo, that's crazy. All right. One says, the groom said, I didn't like her anymore just 2 days after being married. Yo, that means you didn't like her to begin with. Yes, that's why you can't be jumping into relationships. How you talking about you didn't like her 2 days? Oh my goodness gracious. One says his mother still coddled him at the age of 40 with his consent. The couple lived with his mother. By coddle, I mean that she would walk straight into their room after his shower and powder his back for him. They couldn't lock their bedroom door because his mother would come in when she wanted. If they locked the door, she would knock repeatedly, asking what they were doing. What would they be possibly doing? Okay, so my question is, yo, you can't move? Then you shouldn't have gotten married. No. Come on. Let me tell you something. Mom been playing this game ever since you've been dating him. Yes, she's been a menace ever since you've been dating him. Come on. This ain't nothing new. All right. We're talking about divorce attorneys who have come across the weirdest reasons why their couples have split. So let's say a friend of mine divorced his then wife because she would only speak French when her family would come over. She was Spanish, as was her family. In addition, her family spoke English, French, and Spanish, but he could only speak Spanish and English. She got bored of being married to him. Her family basically talked some garbage about him while he was there. It was only when he recorded a conversation while they were there, and got it translated, he found out what was going on. Yo. Yeah. Yes, sir. That was pretty nasty. That first one, right? Yeah, that was pretty nasty. Yeah. They deserve to be divorced. Yeah. Just because you don't clean up behind yourself, that's grounds for divorce right then and there. A woman was divorcing my client because he was too sad after his father died the year before. My client had to break down her door to get his father's ashes a few weeks after he left the house, and she refused to let him back in or give them to him. Wow. Yeah, this is some weird stuff. I worked as a paralegal for a divorce lawyer. Case analysis was one of my main responsibilities. I tell you, a recently married couple of 2 years broke it off because the husband would not stop feeding the dog. The dog got outrageously fat. Apparently, she saw a connection between the dog and future children. It's safe to say some of these people ain't got no business being married. Yeah, what in the world? Let's see what else. Divorce lawyer here. One client filed for divorce because he owed his bookie $70,000. He didn't want to leave his wife, but he figured he would get half the house in the divorce, which was worth $700,000, and pay his debt. He had already blown their entire life savings gambling. He was the worst guy. Yo, really? Wow. The wife wanted to divorce her husband because he kept taking their dogs for walks while she was at work, making it unintentionally, so they'd rather cuddle the husband instead of her after a long day. What? You know what? I'm in the wrong field. I need to be a divorce attorney. Because if you don't have to worry about some real issues and these people coming to you to get a divorce and that's how you make your money, then I get a headache from being a pastor. They ain't nowhere in the world. They got headaches with these type of divorce issues, man, or relationship issues, I should say. I know a couple who divorced for irreconcilable differences over time spent playing EverQuest. I don't even know what that is. Wow. I worked in matrimonial law for a year and a half before I had to leave because it just overwhelmed me with how awful humanity is. I'll never forget filing papers that described her soon-to-be ex-husband's behavior, including masturbates on the living room couch without closing the door and leaves sticky tissues everywhere, with further description of 3 young children potentially walking in on him. Wow. Child, I'm definitely in the wrong field. These are where the stories are. Her usage of the K-cups. Mediation almost fell through over who would take the remaining K-cups. After 3 hours of arguing, I offered to buy them each set of the K-cups they had. So $200 later, I got rid of a ridiculous client. What's a K-cup? I feel like that emoji that goes like this. I don't even know what that is. I haven't done a divorce case in over 15 years, but the last one I did, the husband slept with his wife's sister and then married the sister. The wife responded by marrying his brother. Holidays must have been real fun. Who does this kind of stuff? So, because you married my sister, I'ma marry your brother? What kind of games are you people playing? Definitely in the wrong field. I'm definitely in the wrong field. Wow. He got drunk at the wedding, which she did not like. So she decided to divorce him right after the honeymoon, which she went on without him. Moreover, this was all an elaborate scheme of divorce robbery because the guy was loaded, and so was his entire family. They were loaded because they were a family of excellent lawyers. And he was a third-generation lawyer with all the smarts and experience of his predecessors combined. Let's just say it did not go well for her. Well, how much you are going to get out of a divorce that you just got right after the marriage? Right after y'all got married, you got a divorce. You couldn't expect to be getting anything, right? I don't know. I don't know. Wow. All right, this is a long one because we're about to be up out of here. A lawyer in my old office represented a woman whose husband left her because she got involved in a romance scam that started as a pen pal. It was a weird marriage. They kept separate lives for 30 years. She began corresponding with someone she believed was a 3-star general serving in Afghanistan. It went the typical way scams like this do. She fell in love and he needed money to move from Afghanistan back to the United States. She eventually would transfer him about $70,000 over the course of 8 months. Even when my friend brought me into the conference room to lay out the case as being a scam, for which I had piles of proof, she continued to transfer money, including a $8,000 transfer the day after. The judge ruled she owed her husband dollar for dollar what she gave the scammer. So $70,000 plus. He issued a temporary restraining order barring her from transferring marital assets. My friend dumped her as a client when she showed interest in appealing and trying to expedite her divorce so she could marry the scammer. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Wow. 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 Man. What kind of mess is that? What kind of mess is that? Are you serious? Nah, you can't be serious. After being scammed, you still want to marry this individual? Yo, maybe it wasn't a scam after all. Maybe it was her sending money so that she could bank while, after the divorce. Ooh, that might be something. All right. Tamika says K-cups used to make coffee, tea, or apple cider in a Keurig machine. So they were divorcing over that. Thank you so much. They were divorcing over that? Oh my goodness gracious. Good morning, Her Majesty Caprice. How are you? Yes, people are scandalous. Those were all stories from divorce attorneys. That's why I said I'm in the wrong profession. Because, baby, they have got to keep, their laugh going and going, ongoing. Woo! Thank you so much for joining us, Her Majesty Caprice. Let's see what's going on in the news today. We got a couple things that are really interesting and worth talking about. Where do I even get started? Well, now I have to tell you, I have had this desire to take a Mediterranean cruise for like 15 days. And, pretty much that's on a regular, that's what, the longest, you may have 21 days, something like that, but pretty much you don't see many cruises, go past this. Well, there is a cruise that hit TikTok when the people started sending messages to their TikTok accounts, and they were telling how the staff and who's that, the captain, they were on a 100. Yo, what is that? They were on a 111 night cruise. All right. And, okay, this is like the weirdest thing here. They were on an 111 night cruise. Well, first of all, I didn't even know cruises could last that long. That's almost like half a year you're on a cruise. What in the world? So they're on this cruise. Now the cruise is going from, I got to tell you, is going Hamburg, Germany, England, New York, Hawaii, Mexico, New Zealand, Australia. And they're also going to Vietnam, South Africa, Singapore, and Malaysia. So they are all over the place. Well, it got quite interesting because as they were passing through certain waters from one port to the next, they were told over the PA system to turn off the lights in their staterooms. Now, this would only be for people who had suites, balconies, and ocean views, because once you're on an inside, it doesn't matter. And they were told to turn off the lights, draw the curtains, and that two of the decks or a few of the decks would be manned by security and shut down because they were concerned that they were passing through waters known for piracy. Yo. So here we are on this big ship and we got to worry about the pirates. So we gotta, they bring the lights down on the ship. They tell you to draw your curtains and close and turn the lights out. And they seal off certain decks because y'all worrying about people who have been attacked on a ship. So my question is, was this their first time hearing about this? Because I'm sorry, as much as I want to go on a cruise, I surely don't want to hear nothing about piracy. Because here's my thing. How are you going to stop them from getting on the ship? How are you going to stop them from getting on the ship? Even if, what kind of shutting down of this deck you doing? Not only that, I don't know how many of you have been on a cruise ship, but they don't move that fast. No, these big ships, they don't move really fast. So these pirates, they have like fast moving boats and all this kind of stuff. What you doing? Oh no, my goodness, boy, did that make me think about cruising for 111 days. And I told you all the ports that they're going to. They are all over the place. Well, for 111 days, they sure can be all over the place. Now, as much as I would love to be on a ship for 111 days, well, you're not really on the ship because remember now, you're going to different ports. Now, again, you're going to Mexico and you're going to Hawaii and you're going to England and you're going to Mexico, New Zealand, Australia, Vietnam, South Africa, Singapore, Malaysia. I would love to do something like that because talk about getting to see the world. Yeah. And I always said, if you want to travel, go on a cruise because you get to see, you you spend the day at these ports and you get to see a little bit. I mean, after a while, everything kind of looks the same. But yeah, at least you can say you've had your foot on the water, on the grounds of this particular country and things like that, but not at the risk of piracy. No, that's all right. I shall pass. I shall pass. I shall pass. We got to check in from our girl, Renee Dawkins. Good morning, Renee. How are you? So good to see you pop up on the screen. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, stopping by. All righty. What else are we talking about? We got quite a bit of conversation regarding deporting. Yeah, because there was some stuff that jumped up on this screen, and they got this issue now with they're trying to put out any illegal migrants who are living in public housing. They're trying to put them out. So my question is, how'd they get there? How'd they get there? How are you illegal living in public housing? All the Americans who are homeless, how do you even let that happen? So now they're at the point where they're trying to get rid of all of the individuals between ICE and the Department of Homeland Security. They are now trying to locate every single individual who is an illegal immigrant who's living in housing. So my question is, how'd y'all fill out this paperwork? How'd you fill out the paperwork? You had to show credentials, and people normally wait for housing like 10 years. I don't know anybody living in housing that did not wait at least 7, 8, 9 years. Yes, they have to wait a long time to get into these apartments. And if you remember a couple of years ago, Vivian did something on her socially conscious where they had like thousands of apartments that were available, like empty, not available in a sense, but empty. They hadn't even gotten to taking care of the apartments. So how did you get to all of this where these people are occupying? They're saying that HUD cited that 59% of illegal migrant households are benefiting from some level of governmental programming. So that's about $42 billion in total. So they are living now. They're getting put out of these apartments, and this is going to be one big mess. Because my thing is, if you put them out before you deport them, where they going? So now you got the extra homeless people sleeping on the street. I don't know. Again. I don't know what they're planning on doing. They got to fix this, because everything, we talked about this yesterday, everything they do, they have to undo. Everything they do, they have to undo. So that means that this is not proper planning. We just talked about this. Every single thing he rushes to do, he's now got to backtrack. So now you've got these people living in housing, and this has been going for the longest time. Now, I got this other story that I want to talk about. I'm trying to locate it. All right, so y'all tell me what y'all think. I'm really interested. I will tell you what I think afterwards, okay? So you have this couple who have been living in California since 1989. They came over here from, let's see. Let me see. I'll find the country. Colombia. They came over here from Colombia. So you have Gladys, and who's 55, and Nelson Gonzalez, who is 59, who have been living in Los Angeles since 1989 when they came here. So they went to report for their routine check-in with ICE and ended up being deported. They were held for 3.5 weeks, and they were finally deported on March 18th to their native Colombia country. All righty. So they have 3 adult children, and they are all United States citizens. And they are saying that their family, their father and their mother, they've never been criminals. They've never broken the law. They have never missed an appointment with immigration. Why are they deported? It is so unfair. They shouldn't have to be deported, blah, blah, blah. Now, they're saying that they're being treated like criminals because they took them, held them for 3.5 weeks, and then deported them. Now, here's how they lay this out. Here's how they lay this issue out. Now, I want to read this to you. All right. So the 2 of them came to the United States, they say, during a period of sustained violence and terrorism in Colombia. They came legally, and they said that the government fought a 2-front war against drug cartels and left-wing guerrillas. All right. So Nelson and his wife filed for asylum in 1992, but the case was closed in 1998 after he failed to attend an interview. Okay. They say that the 2 of them agreed to leave the country voluntarily in 2000, but then they sought a legal way to remain through various courts and appeals processes over the next 21 years until finally exhausting all legal options in August of 2021. So they say they haven't said how they've been able to stay here since 2021. So from 21 to 25, they've been pretty much living here illegally. So when they went to check in, because that was their agreement, to check in with ICE every so often, when they went to check in, they ended up getting held for the 3.5 weeks and then deported back to Colombia. And their family is in an uproar. Their family is collecting money under GoFundMe. And they haven't said what they got this GoFundMe for. So I don't know if they got GoFundMe to try to get them back into the country, if they got GoFundMe for the 3 of the kids and the grandchild. They said they just celebrated the birth of a grandchild. And they are saying that many undocumented immigrants that were subject to deportation have been allowed to remain as long as they meet like that whole ICE thing, because they really couldn't get to them. That's pretty much the bottom line. They're saying it was really a low priority. I guess they figured that the people really weren't doing anything wrong. Again, if you remained a non-criminal, they left you kind of on that lowest totem, on the lowest part of the totem pole, and they did not pay you much attention. They kind of let you float. So, do you think that they should have been deported? He's deporting anyone who is illegal. Right now, as much as this uproar is, as much as people like it, people don't like it, he has only been able to deport people that are illegally here. He has not been able to deport when he said, hey, I'm going to finally target the other people who, no, he can't touch them. He has not been able to touch them at all. So far, the thousands of people who have been deported, whether they were criminals or non-criminals, have been illegal people who do not have their papers together to stay here. This particular couple, they here from 1989, and I read the process to you. All of their paperwork and all of their process of remaining here legally ended in 2021. They were not able to do anything to legally stay here since 2021, but because I guess they had been here all that time, again, they now don't have any criminal history. They are now deported. Do you feel that they should have been deported? And I'll weigh in afterwards, all right? So you have this other story of them putting tons of people on their plane to, let me see, tons of people on the plane deported to Venezuela. Now, they are not like the ones who went to El Salvador. These people who went to Venezuela went back to Venezuela. Yes. And they're saying that tons of those gang members, like Tren de Aragua, I don't know, y'all know how to say it better than I do. They are the ones who they were happy to put on that particular plane. And when they got there, now they're all sassy because they're kissing Venezuela ground and they're lifting their arms up, in victory. They are so happy to be back on their land. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. Because how come you didn't go back on your own? If you were so happy and America was so bad, yeah, get them gang members up out of here. Get out of here. They get out of here. They get out of here. So it was quite a few of them on this plane deported. So they are not playing. They are so not playing. They are so not playing. They have put them on planes and they are gone. Let me see if there's one more story that I could talk about before I pull up my due time crew. Oh my goodness gracious. This is crazy. Let's see if we can, you know what? Uh-oh. And let me see if I can pull up one more. Y'all keep weighing in because I'm coming back. When we get to that story with my due time crew, I'm coming back to that to see how you all are weighing in. All righty. All right. Here's another one. So you got this coach of a high school sports team and their basketball team. And supposedly they were playing and they were losing. And the coach, which is an 81-year-old person who has been the coach for quite so many years at this school for this basketball team, these girls' basketball team, he told one of the young ladies something. He said something to her. He said she turned around and cussed at him. And therefore, he kind of tugged on her ponytail. So as you can see in that picture, he tugged on her ponytail. And now he is no longer working as a coach. Yes, they were really not that happy to see that had happened. They said he tugged on her hair, and clearly he didn't let go immediately because they say another teammate had to step in between the two of them, and it ended up being one of his nieces. Now, they said they got rid of him. He finally did give an apology. He said that it was wonderful being employed and working as his basketball coach, but he didn't mean to, and he was sorry. All right. What do you think? What do you think? I want to hear from you. All right. Is my Pastor Vinny on with me?
Good morning, Pastor Steph.
Good morning, Pastor Vinny. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Doing well. I had to send Miss Pastor Brenda to work this morning, so
Oh,
I'm solo today.
All righty. That's okay. We love having you. We miss Pastor Brenda, but we love having you. All right. Pastor Vinny, let's talk about some of this stuff here. My iPad is freezing up. All right. So you have this case of, let's go backwards. You have this case of the basketball coach who had one of his team members cuss at him. So he yanked on her hair, and he no longer has a job. Now he's been employed with this school system for quite a few years.
Sure.
And he's never done anything prior to this. And should he have gotten off with a warning, or should he have been let go? What's your thought?
I don't know. It seems like they might have had their eyes on removing him for a while. I don't know what their record is. I don't know whether they have a winning season or a winning team or whatever.
Okay.
I'm sure that if they were, at the top of the league, they'd be more lenient because that's what it's about. It's about winning. It's about being the champion. But
right.
at 81 years old, and it was a female. I don't know whether that's considered an assault or battery or whatever that is. It's a girl, because you see guys yelling at their coaches, even to the point of almost laying hands, on the player or and you don't see this firing happen.
Right,
so
right.
The fact that she was a female probably had a lot to do with it. At 81, I would say sayonara.
Yeah.
It's been good. Sometimes it ain't been real good, but I had my shot. I've been here for 30, 40 years. When do you stop?
Alrighty.
When do you
Absolutely.
When do you leave it up?
Right. Mm-hmm. Let's see what Shantice has to say about this, Pastor Vinny. Let's say good morning to Shantice. Good morning, Shantice.
Good morning. I get to be on with Pastor Vinny. Good morning.
Yay me.
How are you?
Good morning, daughter.
I'm good, pastors. How are you?
Excellent.
I am well, thank you. I'm well. So you've got this high school basketball coach who's 81 years old. They were playing a game and they were kind of losing or something. Mm-hmm. And he said something to them. She didn't like what he said, so she turned around and cussed at him. He yanks her hair, and now he no longer has a job. Do you think that in all the years that he's worked there, that he should have been given a pass? Or do you think that he should have been fired on the spot?
Fired. You put your hands on someone, and this is why you needed to be gone, because you're too old. So now you figure, I ain't got all this time to be talking, so let me just do what's quicker. Absolutely not. No, that is completely unacceptable. And he needed to get fired, not only for himself, but for anyone coming behind him or anyone who's working at that school. Let this be a reminder that this is not tolerated.
Mm-hmm.
He lucky he didn't get jumped.
Hello.
Right. Because had he pulled somebody
on this side of the fence,
yes,
Grandpa would have got jumped.
Grandpa.
Yes. Definitely. All right.
He could have told her, go sit down.
Right.
Right.
You didn't
right.
have to put
right.
hands
You could
on
have
her.
benched her.
Sit down.
That's right. That's
you out
right.
of the game.
That's
Sit
right.
down.
That's right.
That'll
All right.
teach her.
That's right. That's right. You bench her
Mhm.
and call it a day.
Yeah.
You show who's got the power.
That's it.
Okay. Let me see who's weighed in on this. Let's see. We have Renee who says he shouldn't have pulled the little girl's hair. And Vivian says they did him a favor because, oh, here we go. They did him a favor because he should have gotten locked up. He's too old to be working anyway, especially with this new generation of kids. They are so disrespectful. Okay. We have Terrence who says, no matter what, he should have been fired. You just don't do that. And I have to agree with you all. You know what? Today it's yanking somebody's hair. Tomorrow, what is it? You know, it's always done in some level of gradation. So you don't always start out pulling somebody's hair. It gets to be worse. It definitely gets to be quite worse. And you don't want to go there. You just don't want to go there. That wouldn't be the smartest thing to do. All right, my due time crew. You've got the issue with this California couple. And I want to read back how they laid this out. So they got here in 1989. They came to the United States during a period of sustained violence and terrorism in Colombia, as the government fought two-front war against drug cartels and left-wing guerrillas. According to ICE, he filed for asylum in 1992, but his case was closed in 1998 after he failed to attend an interview. The agency said that the two of them agreed to leave the country voluntarily in the year of 2000, but then sought a legal way to remain through various courts and appeals processes over the next 21 years. Until finally they exhausted all their legal options in August of 2021. So they have been checking in with ICE periodically, and they went to do their normal check-in, and they were detained for 3.5 weeks. And on March 18th, they were deported because they're illegal. And probably that 3.5 weeks of being detained was them checking out all of their, credentials and seeing how these people ended up staying here, blah, blah, blah. Now the family is in an uproar. They have 3 grown children who say they should not have been sent back to Colombia. They are all Americans. The 3 children were born here. They're all Americans, and they just celebrated the birth of their grandchild, and they don't feel they should be deported. So I put it out to the due time viewers. So I'm going to read what they have to say in a minute. But Pastor Vinny, should they have been deported?
Whew. Now, you have to understand that I'm kind of salty on this issue of deportation, because depending on how light your skin is, you get to stay longer. Now, they've been there since 1989. Here we are, 2025 or whenever they got, sent back. Finally, we couldn't pay enough money to be able to stay, and every time you look for us, they're changing the goalposts. They're moving the goalposts. Oh no, you got to do this. Oh, you got to do that. You got to, these folks probably ran out of money paying off whoever.
Okay.
Should they go back? If you didn't send them back in the first 20 years, leave the people alone. I mean, for what? Just to say that you deported somebody? These people, especially their kids. I mean, well then, I don't know how, that's considered grown-ups. I don't know whether they're just on the cusp of over 18, 20, 21, they're still trying to find their way in life and trying to, I don't know, can they adopt their parents or, and grandparents? I mean, it sounds so cruel. Just this whole thing seems so mean-spirited. The cases where the kids go to school and the parents are afraid to go pick them up from school.
Right.
And they may get snatched up.
Okay.
I mean, this is the country we're living in. Should they be?
Okay.
I'm like, after 20 something years, I mean, I say no. I could be wrong.
Okay.
Okay.
Listen, it's how you feel.
I'm a softie.
Okay, it's how you feel. We're not mad at you. That's how you feel. We good. So if Pastor Vinny has a big heart, he says, leave him here. Shantice, what say you?
I agree. If they have not been able to find any criminal activity, any illegal activity, back in the 80s, they didn't have certain things in place. They weren't as strict with certain things, or they let certain things go by. They've been able, almost 40 years here. Yeah. They've been able to, act better than some
citizens.
Some born citizens, so as long as they can't find anything that they should really be arrested for outside of the fact that you may not have the proper documentation and you've been keeping up regularly with, going to whatever court hearings or whatever throughout the years. I mean, what are you uprooting them for now? I agree. It's because the motive, maybe if the motive was different, like, listen, this is just what we're doing across the board. Unfortunately, because of this, whatever situation happening, we just really have to crack down, and we have to, we understand you've been here for almost 40 years, but unfortunately, because your papers are not right, but we're still going to do this for you. No, it's just because you're nasty and stupid. Mm-hmm. And your whole thing is, I just want to do this because I can. Yeah. So for me, that's the main reason why it's like, leave these people alone. Like, just stop. Almost 40 years. It was almost like the weed. Like, okay, listen, those who got, locked up when they said prior to it or after it became legal, they started doing some other stuff because it was like, all right, you really keeping a minute for that. It's legal now, whether we agree with it or not. But it's like the motives kill you. The motives kill what you claim you're doing. So no, I say leave them alone.
Okay. Pastor KL, let's say good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Pastor KL. How are you feeling?
Oh man, I'm here. Good morning. God bless you.
Good morning. Good morning. You heard the scenario.
I did.
Do you feel that they should be left alone, or do you feel they should be deported?
I'm with the panel. They should be left alone. I mean, if they've been there 40 years, the way I look at it, they're probably 60 or 70 years old by now. They're about to die.
55. They're about 55 and 50. They're like 55 and 57, I think, somewhere around there.
Well, they're closer to dying than they are to living. So, I mean, just leave them alone.
55 and 59. She's 55, he's 59.
I'm praying for you, my brother.
I'm not looking forward to turning 50.
Just leave them alone. Leave them alone. I mean, as everyone says, if they're not posing any threat, they haven't been out here robbing and stealing. It sounds like they raised some decent children. They just became a grandmother, grandfather. Just let them live. Let them live.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. Let's see what the viewers have to say. So Vivian says, yes, they are illegal, and although they have been able to fly under the radar for years, they need to file the paperwork to become legal, and if they can't, then they should have left willingly. Especially when Trump got into office, they should have left willingly. Let's see what else is saying. Anika is weighing in on the coach. She says, yes, he needed to go. If he was comfortable pulling her hair, what else would he do? I agree with that. And Anika says, yes, they should have deported them. Trump administration stated they were looking for criminality. It does just feel criminal just because you can. Serge says, I agree. They could have stayed here. They didn't commit any crimes, but they just want to find their need to go. I was thinking they want to say since they missed their appointment from 21 to 25 is a crime now. Okay. All right. So Pastor Steph is gonna weigh in. They need to go. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. So let me go back to something. They got here in 89. They applied for paperwork in 2000. But when it was time for him to get to the appointment, he didn't make it. It didn't say he didn't make it because he was ill. It didn't say he didn't make it because she was ill. The kids was ill. They didn't say why he didn't make it. It says he missed the appointment. So they agreed to, that was in 1992 or something. In 2000, they said they would leave. But because there was some type of arrangement that was made, they were allowed to stay, but they still had to file their proper paperwork. Okay, so they've been able to maneuver themselves all the way to 2021. You have not had your proper paperwork since 2021 when you exhausted everything and all of your appeals. So you've been living here extra illegally since 21. And here you are in 25 and you mad because they're deporting you. You are here illegally. I personally don't care why they're deporting them, whether it's Trump's on a tangent, whether it's Mary Brown is on a tangent, whether they let somebody else stay here, but now they're picking on them to go. You're here illegally. I'm not putting all of this stuff together with this bleeding heart. You're here illegally. If you, I don't, you know what? Here's what the thought process is. Oh, at least they're not a criminal. They weren't supposed to be a criminal. Yo, if you're trying to fly underneath the radar, you would be smart to not be a criminal, especially if they were reporting to ICE on a periodic basis. You'd be a dummy to now go and commit a crime. So I'm sorry, not committing a crime, I don't give you no stars for that, because you're not supposed to commit a crime, especially in a country where you really don't belong in because you ain't got the proper paperwork. I'm sorry, it's time to go. I think that they need to thank God that they were able to stay here as long as they were. They were able to fly underneath this radar and be undetected, or they were able to work out that agreement so they could do the ICE thing. But listen, Trump said, I'm getting rid of anyone illegally. You gonna sit here and wait your turn? Get up out of here before you're deported. That way you do it on your time. You do it with your preparation in place. So Stephanie, I'm sorry. I don't have no bleeding heart. You were here, oh my gosh, from 1989 all the way to 2025. Yo, give another 4 years, it would be 40 years. So I'm gonna feel like you need to be in this country for 40 years and you don't have the proper paperwork. You should have been busting your behind to do what you needed to do. And if you did, and it ended in 21, so God let you stay here another 4 years. How you complaining? How you complaining? How you complaining? I'm sorry. No, you done. You're done. You're done. Your free ride is over.
I missed
again.
All the missing paperwork.
Well, what did you listen to?
I heard he missed the one appointment. I missed the consecutive.
Well, y'all weren't listening because I read it twice.
And then paperwork there.
No, I read it twice. I went back and I said, I read it twice because I read it twice when I saw Pastor KL come up on the screen. Plus, I was going to read it twice anyway in case anybody just joined us. It said that they came here during a period of sustained violence and terrorism in Colombia.
Right, heard
that. In 1992, he filed for asylum, but his case was closed in 1998 after he failed to attend an interview. So from 1992, when you filed, you went all the way to 1998, and you failed your appointment. You lived for 6 years there. Then they say that they agreed to leave voluntarily in the year of 2000. And then they sought a legal way to remain through different courts, appeals, and all kinds of things. So they rode that train of appeals from 2000 to 2021. And now, as of 2021, they lost everything. All the appeals, opportunities, and everything had been exhausted. So from 21 to 25, you've been living here straight illegally because all your appeals were done back in 21.
Right.
They weren't giving you no more chances. It's time for you to go. You've been living here off. No, I don't feel sorry. No.
They got comfortable.
But right, that's what I'm saying.
When you put it like that, I understand. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, it seems like an awfully long time, of processing, and no action. So they probably didn't believe that it could happen,
right.
and that's the government's fault. That's not necessarily their fault. But all of a sudden, you want to sweep them up and throw them out.
So what? I'm trying to hear the disjustice here, Pastor Vinny. You just gave it up right there. The government went to sleep at the wheel. You're absolutely right. They blew this one. And how many other ones have they blown, Pastor Vinny? They went to sleep at the wheel. However, you got comfortable and you figured you didn't roll this thing out from 1992 to 1998. That was your first ride. Then you went from 2000 to 2021 on your second ride. So you got 21 years this time. You got 8 years the last time. That's 29 years you've been riding, right? So now count 21 to 25. You've been living, sleeping, doing whatever you wanted to do for over 30 years. And I'm going to feel sorry for you because it's the government's fault? Nah. No, you've been able to parlay because the government's been asleep at the wheel. However, you were here illegally and you thought you were going to get away with it. Well, the party is over. Plain and simple as that. So here's my thing. You ain't been living here legally. How you making your money? Where you getting your money from? No, I'm sorry. And they could be working, they could be, listen, I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm not saying that they've been criminals, but you have been a criminal. You've been living in this country illegally. What, because you ain't robbed a bank or because you ain't murdered somebody, you're not a criminal? You are still a criminal. You've been living off this country in a country you have no business being in. And now you're mad because these people didn't caught up with you because you got swept up in Trump. So what? Boo-hoo. All other presidents went to sleep on you. Now you got a woke president. So now you know what? How you complaining though? I don't understand how anybody is complaining. The children, this is such a disjustice. This is criminal. You're treating them like criminals. I'm sorry. When you are in this country illegally, you are a criminal. Because you came here legally, you stayed here illegally. For over 30 years, you've been here illegally. Yo, what's the problem? So no, I think it's just too much. I think it's too much. I feel bad for them, if they haven't done anything wrong in a sense, but guess what? Sorry. Should take care of your business. I think America has treated you well. And I'm sorry, as a person who's paid tax dollars, bye. Bye. See you later. See you later. See you later.
Send me a postcard, huh?
Yeah.
Send me a postcard, right?
Make it, listen, here's the way I feel about Pastor K and what he said. He was like, they ready to die, then go over to your country. Go to the country. Go to your country and let them treat you well. I'm sorry. I don't feel sorry for you. No, I don't. Okay. Terrence says you have to blame them for not doing the paperwork point blank. And again, that's just the bottom line to the whole thing. All righty. Thank you for indulging me. All of you, my viewers, my Due Time crew on the news. I've got a recording for you. I've got a video for you that I want to hear some feedback on. Shantice, you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, hit it, please.
I walked and I tried to find myself through other men in the church, in the grand old church. What am I doing? I'm taking the mask off. I'm taking the mask off. I'm taking the mask off. I'm telling the young people I'm coming clean. You want real? I'm real right now. You want real? I'm clear. I'm real. I'm transparent right now. You have no idea how many times I gave myself away trying to find myself. Just trying to feel loved because my daddy didn't cover me. Just trying to feel loved because I didn't have a man to show me what love was. And the only man that loved me lusted me when I was 8, and that's all I knew to look for. So playing the piano, speaking in tongues, but somebody seeing me on the piano and coming and saying, let me help you, only to make me twice the son of hell he was. You don't know what's going on with your kids. And you let your discernment go when you look at their friends and don't discern what's in them. Oh, that's just Johnny. That's just Sally. You don't understand what's going on right now. Katy Perry is turning the girls out. Talking about I kissed the girl and I liked it. You don't hear what I'm telling you. These young girls are just as bad as the boys in homosexuality, but you don't see it. You don't see it. You don't see it. But today, hear me, every one of you young people. I've been there. But God said with loving kindness, not with condemnation, with loving kindness, y'all hear me? Not with guilt, with loving kindness have I drawn you. God said, I don't want your gift. I want your life. I don't want your talent. I want you. And I will heal every broken cycle. I will turn your life around. Trust me, I didn't start living until I turned 40. I didn't start living until I turned 40. Now I'm having the best time of my life because he's healed me. So my 50 is like 20 all over again. God's given me back the years that the palmer worm and the cankerworm and the caterpillar has destroyed. He's given me back the years. I need somebody to raise a praise right now. And I understand. Hear me, musicians, singers, young people, all in this room. I understand. Man, I understand how it is to have a heart for God and a lust for sin. I understand how it is to want to stay in church. The reason why you're in church now is because there's something in you. You're not crazed. You're not wayward. You're not that buck wild. The reason why you're in church is because there's something in you. But you also know that while there's something in you for God, there are other people in church that appeal to your lust. Let's be real. I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. Why is it that we don't like talking true? And I'm dealing with people who are saying, well, no, it's a new day. It's a new day. It's a new day. And this one fell, and this one messed up, and this one fell, and this one said homosexuality is right. It's just broken people. I can't condemn Tone. I got to love Tone, but I got to tell him the truth. This is not the will of God. And you got to tell your children, you can't be afraid to talk about it on these platforms. These platforms are not just about Moses on the mountain. No. We got to deal with the real deal. And we got to tell our children, no, baby, that's a broken person. That's not the real way. There's a way that seems right to a man. But the end, do you realize how it looks?
Woo-wee. Wow. Have you heard that before, Pastor Vinny? Yes or no?
No. No, okay. But my son has heard it before.
Okay. Shantice, have you heard it before?
No.
Okay. Pastor KL has heard it before. You know, it's funny because just yesterday, I was talking about transparency. Just yesterday, I was talking about this Due Time crew and transparency. Pastor Vinny, you know, a lot of things were said in this word that Donnie McClurkin gave, and he's being very transparent, not only about his own life, but about the church.
Yeah.
About how the church, in your time of need, you're preyed upon. Mm-hmm. What would be your word about that?
It's all true. I mean, it's all true, especially. You know, and I don't want to start picking out different denominations or whatever, but I know for a fact with James Cleveland, who later came out that he was gay, you know, part of this whole Church of God in Christ. I mean, their whole foundation has been shaky, you know, with their not acceptance, but their willingness to hide and promote these pastors to bishops and to promote them and not, you know, what does the word say? Love the sinner but hate the sin. They were continuing to promote the sin. They weren't concerned about cleaning up their act, cleaning up so that the next generation will be able to walk in some kind of righteousness. You know, so yeah, this has been a mess for a long time. And my kid, don't you see, Bob, that Donnie McClurkin is gay? Don't you? I'm like, there's a lot of guys, especially in the music, you know, that first of all, they're raised by their mothers, they're raised by auntie, they're raised, you know, and there's not a strong male presence in their life. And as he said, that presence that he thought was there to support him was actually just lusting, just adding more fuel to the fire. Right. Adding more fuel to the fire. I'm encouraged to see this. I'm you know, I said like it's about time that somebody calls it out. It's about time that somebody calls it out. And like you said, you could point at Tone, because he was really like, woo! That was like the end of the spectrum. That was really the other side of the spectrum. Gifted, talented, and all of that. And I mean, bold with it. You know, I was like, I mean, we're in a mess.
Right.
We were in a mess with the acceptance instead of the correction. We're not getting the correction. We're just standing there, standing on the sideline, clapping our hands, like everything is okay. Nothing's wrong over here. Nothing to see.
Right.
You know. hopefully we're able to crawl out of this darkness.
Absolutely, Pastor Vinny. Absolutely. Shantice, Donnie McClurkin talks about exposing your children without really understanding that you're exposing your children. You know, you're sending them off to people's houses, you're sending them off to even church people that you're not paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the signs are there, but you're too trusting. You're letting your guard down. And now the church is taking advantage of them. And I'm not saying like now is like the first time it's happened, but this is what he's bringing to the forefront.
Yeah.
That, you know, this is now, I'm being taken advantage by the church. Here I'm thinking I'm going to get helped by the church, and now I'm getting, you know, hurt by the church. What say you about this trusting everybody with your children? He says Katy Perry is coming for your children. What say you?
I'm glad, because as he was talking, I pulled up the lyrics real quick. I wanted to read the first verse of her song, I Kissed a Girl. This was never the way I planned, not my intention. I got so brave, drink in hand, lost my discretion. It's not what I'm used to. Just want to try you on. I'm curious for you. Caught my attention. I kissed the girl and I liked it. The taste of her cherry chapstick. I kissed the girl just to try it. I hope my boyfriend don't mind it. It felt so wrong. It felt so right. Don't mean I'm in love tonight. I kissed the girl and I liked it. I liked it.
Wow.
It has everything to do with these parents being lazy. Again, I don't have any children, but I have a niece. And there's nothing that she's watching or listening to. And periodically me and Pastor Steph was like, what you watching? What you listening to? Let me see. She called herself last Sabbath morning listening to something.
Yeah.
And she was in the dining room, we're in the living room, and it sounded like some type of Twilight Zone sci-fi
music. Yeah.
And we were like, what is that? And she's like, oh, this is a Christian influencer. That couldn't be, not with that instrumental. No. Okay, so that gets shut down. Absolutely not. And it takes being intentional as a parent, an aunt, uncle, whatever, or somebody just walking by that would hear or see or just randomly ask. So there's no way your child is listening to lyrics like this and you don't know unless you're intentionally turning a blind eye. Or there's no, I've never grasped the concept, and I'm sure it has a lot to do with how I was raised, because my niece has a best friend who her mother will not allow her to sleep over anywhere, but she's having a sleepover. And I said, Abby, that's how I grew up. You want to go to sleepover? You sure can here. So you might as well tell all your friends to come here, because you ain't sleeping nowhere else. And everybody just had to get cool with Miss Steph, because Shantice and Shorty's Intermajor wasn't going to sleep at nobody else's house. You have to be intentional. And even again, I say, I don't understand with these church folk. That means you were whacked in the world, because there is no way. We had a guy walk in our church off the street one Sabbath asking for prayer. And Pastor Steph said, okay, let's pray. And while we were praying, I had one eye open and looked around, and Vivian had one eye open. I said, see, this is why I understand we're in the house of the Lord. Amen. We're praying beautiful. At the same time, we know where we are, and you just walked in here up off the street. We ain't playing these reindeer games. You have to make sure that you're paying attention to what's going on. There are predators everywhere. Even if they're not doing anything sexual with your kids, there's a chance they could be introducing anything to your kids that you just wouldn't want them to introduce. It could be anything.
Right.
Anything. So I really don't understand how you get so lackadaisical because, oh, it's Bishop so-and-so, it's Pastor so-and-so, it's Deacon so-and-so, it's the usher. So what? These people, as you just heard from Donnie McClurkin, he wasn't a predator, but he was someone in the church who had issues. Everyone in church has issues. You cannot just be so relaxed and believe that nothing happen to your children, because once these kids lose their innocence, that's it.
That's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Pastor KL, what say you about this, this whole letting your guard down, and now you are releasing your children into the hands of predators right in the church.
Hey, baby,
Right.
it's canceled. Yeah.
Well, for me, this was very, very, very close to home, being that I'm a singer in the church, I'm a choir director in the church. One problem that you have is when your parents don't know God. You know, when your parents don't have a relationship with God, in their mind, okay, I'll just send them to church, you're not on the street. But they have no discernment because they don't know who God is. You know, I almost feel like that line in The Color Purple, all my life in church I had to fight. Because I was a flamboyant dresser, I was a singer, I was a flamboyant choir director. So they automatically thought I was on the other side. I was on the other team. So I was approached quite often, you know, because in their mind, hey, we all on the same team. You know, so it becomes a difficult place to be. You know what I mean? Because quiet as it kept, I was a hoe on my team. You know what I mean? But they think I'm on their team because I'm dressing like them. I'm singing like them. I'm the choir director. You know what I mean? So it becomes difficult. And then because my parents at that time was not in church, there was no one praying these folks off. And I didn't know how to pray these folks off because I'm in the light. Yeah, I'm the star. You understand what I'm saying? And everybody wants to be with the star. So in the beginning, I'm thinking they like me for who I am, but they like me for who they wanted me to be. So now I'm trying to be saved and trying to be delivered, but I'm still fighting. So now I'm getting put out of churches, you know, where I just want to be with God, but because I'm beating the crap out of your musician, I'm being put out of churches. You know what I mean? And no one's is dealing with the musician. No one's dealing with the other men, the tenors. You understand what I'm saying? No one's dealing with that, but they're dealing with me just because I'm protecting my peace. So yeah, that's a very difficult place to be in.
Wow. Yeah. You know, it's he went as far as to say, you know, I love Tone. I can't beat him up. You know, that's been that's been the thing, you know, bashing Tone. And when I say bashing, I mean good, bad, right, wrong, and different, but really bashing his behavior, his transition, because not only did Tone change his attire and what he was presenting in music, he also began to talk against God. So that was really a huge thing, because you go from being this big gospel singer to now, like, I don't believe in God. I'm questioning, you know, God's existence, blah, 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 blah. So that's another reason why a lot of people came down on him. But Donnie McClurkin is saying, based on where I'm coming from and the love I needed, I'm not going to talk against him. I'm going to love him, but I've got to tell him the truth. Pastor Vinny, why is it so hard for us to tell people the truth? We're so worried about hurting their feelings that we miss the mark of trying to save their soul, but we want to be nice about it, so we don't do the job properly.
Pastor Steph, the problem is when we're addressing somebody else, we're worried about exposing ourselves.
Wow. You
can't talk to somebody and be so intimate, you know, to share with them what the truth is without coming clean yourself. My like Pastor Kale said, well, my mom brought us to church. You know, I have 8 sisters and a brother. We'd sit on that same pew in church. Everybody be in the pew in front of my mother every Sunday. And so we love the church. We love the church. And when it came, you know, I didn't have a father figure, so a lot of those guys, you know, would come, encourage me, blah blah blah. But there was no craziness. Thank God, there was no craziness going on at that time, because you know I had my sisters. I had all my sisters and me, so we were together. You know, nobody was going to try any foolishness, and it's just sad that when we look around and see what's really been going on, I really didn't see a lot of stuff until my kids got older. My kids got older, and they were my older son. You know, he was set upon. He'd come home from college and Dad, because he's a musician as well. He'd come home and say, Dad, I almost had to beat up a bishop. I'm like, well,
Wow.
what happened? He said he stepped to me, you know. And then what was worse, Pastor Kale, he didn't want to pay him for his service that morning at the church. So
Wow.
he wanted to mess with his money. You don't want to do that
Wow.
to my kids,
Wow.
you know. So it's bad. It's bad, and it's still going on. But the stigma is, like you said, why can't we just be truthful? Why can't we just take care of each other the way God wants us to?
Right. Right. And that's the bottom line.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
right.
why? My
Right.
kids
That's
know.
bottom line.
If daddy, you know, John is having a sleepover. I said, that's nice. Listen, well, can I go? I said, no, you can't go. You have a bed right here.
Yeah. That's what my mother used to say. That's right.
Yeah, you have a bed.
Right.
If, you know, even the parties. If I didn't know their parents, you know, I would drive. I think I said it on our Friday call. You know, I'll take them to the party. I walk inside. I look around and see who was there, see what they were doing, and if I didn't feel good about it, I tell my son, I said, you got a half an hour, you got an hour, enjoy yourself. I'll be right back. And sure enough, I'm coming right back. Why is there a bottle of Johnny Walker Red, all kind of liquor and stuff on the table at a kid's party?
Right.
No, I'm not falling for
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely, Pastor Vinny. No. Absolutely.
No.
A lot to think about. To think about. Shantice, we're talking about, you know, Donnie McClurkin saying, listen, I'm not going to beat up Tone. I love him, but I got to tell him the truth.
Yes.
What prevents us from telling the truth to save that life?
Popularity. Wanting to be popular. If I tell you the truth, one of the things that has been so blatant to me in this Christian walk is that God requires us to be real, whether he calls you to do it with a little aggression or be a little gentle and passive with it, but he needs you to be honest. And I've been saying this for a long time, but especially the past few months, I've really been feeling, and I've been saying to people love Shantice. And so I start telling you what God asked me to tell you, because now he's asking me to tell you about you, and you don't like that. So now I done went from being the person you want as number one on your list to the bottom of your shoe, because you don't want to hear about you. So if you care about being liked, don't be honest.
Right.
And that's what's going on in the church. Right. The church cares too much about wanting to be liked, about wanting to fill those chairs or those pews, and they're not focused on the quantity more than the quality more than the quantity. And you have to make sure that authenticity is at the top of your list, especially as clergy, as a leader. That if I'm not authentic to God, then what am I doing this for? I might as well be a bouncer at a club. I might as well be a party promoter. They make money.
Mm-hmm.
Go party promote. Go be a concert promoter. They become popular. They become popular with the attendees and with whatever artist they're promoting. Go do that. But church is not a concert. Church is not, I walked out feeling so good. I remember telling people before, oh, you at the wrong church. You walked out feeling good. Because every time I woke up out of Sabbath, I got an attitude. But guess what? But after we eat lunch, I feel good. Because God loves me. That just confirms. When I don't feel convicted, I get scared. Like, God, you saying I'm gonna just let you go? I don't.
Right.
So it has everything to do with you just caring too much about wanting to be liked. And if that's what you care about, then this is not I don't want to say the career path, but that's how they treat it. Like it's a career path.
All right. Pastor KL, what's the deal? Why won't we just tell the truth so that soul can be, a soul that God accepts into His kingdom?
Well, first of all, we have no heaven nor hell to put you in, and second of all, when you don't be honest, you don't want to go to heaven or hell. You haven't chose where you want to be, because the Bible talks about that the blood is on your hands. So if you know something and you don't go to that person to try to help them, to try to listen, you have to give it to them so they can make a decision, because you never know, they might not know it's wrong. And if you know that it's wrong and you don't go there, that means you're not following God. Absolutely. That means you might as well just have a few seats. Sit down wherever you want to sit down, because you're not playing your role at all. So that becomes that's the first and foremost part. Why are we preaching the gospel? Why do we have a people? Why are we going for the one? And which one are you going for? You know what I mean? You don't want to go for this one because this one is bringing people into your church. And if you offend him, he might leave and take the people. So which one are you going for? Are you going for the one that really don't count? So if they decide to leave, they just leave? At least you said what you had to say that was on your mind. Or are you going for the one who's living this righteous living, and that can possibly change the other folks behind them? This becomes a domino effect if you do it the correct way. But because you're scared of losing the people behind him, you know what I mean? Again, God won't expose you as the pastor because of the people. He knows he already lost you.
Right.
You know what I mean? But he'll allow you to stew in your mess. Now, God has already spoken to you. He's already told you what you're doing is wrong. He's already given you the right answer. But you choose ye this day who you will serve. I wish that you be hot or cold. Lukewarm, I'm already telling you I can't use you.
Absolutely. Woo! Well, I hope our viewers are paying attention, because you three have just laid it out for us. Thank you so much, my Due Time crew, for your contribution to today's conversation, and we pray you have a blessed day.
You too.
Good well.
We say hello.
Yes.
I will. Bless you.
All right, Pastor KL, feel better.
Thank you.
Yeah, my brother. Praying for you, my brother.
Thank you.
All righty. All right, we got a check-in from our girl Kiwi. Hello. Thank you so much for stopping by. We've got Her Majesty Capri says, exactly, and your people should be hearing from him. There you have it. We have a responsibility as people of God. Some people really believe that only the pastor has a job. But once you're called and you answer, you have a responsibility. The Bible says that we should go out and disciple. Well, let me tell you something. Disciple does not only have one look. It doesn't only have one face. However God is calling you to disciple, because everybody's not going to disciple the same way. You know, I look at how we're talking about a Donnie McClurkin really coming out and saying what it is. He's going to be able to draw so many people with his testimony that I could not draw with my testimony. You know, Pastor KL we always talk, and he always says, everybody has their audience. Everyone has their people. Everyone has who they're designed to reach and who to speak to. Sometimes, you know, we're just the seed planters. Other times God uses us to water, and then he will give the increase. You don't know what role it is that you are actually designed to play. You may even think that, you know, I'm assigned to bring this person to church. You may not be that individual. You remember now, King David, with all his heart, wanted to build the temple for God, temple of the Lord. That was his desire. And he had to slow David down. Listen, this is not your assignment. That assignment I've given to Solomon, the next generation, the next one who will be sitting in your seat. So no matter how much we have on our heart to do, that may not quite be our ultimate goal. However, telling the truth is always our responsibility. Revealing God is always our responsibility. Being upfront and honest is always our responsibility. Like I said, you know, Pastor McClurkin can grab people with this particular testimony. Do you know how many people are being set free when they hear his testimony? Because they're going through the same thing that he's already been through. He said, when I was 40, I started to live. There's something about stepping into freedom that changes your whole entire life. There is nothing like being free. You could fly and soar like an eagle once everything has been released from you. There is nothing more that weighs you down than hiding. There's nothing more that weighs you down than keeping secrets. And to walk in that secrecy, to walk behind the veil, always afraid to say something, always afraid to reveal something, that will kill you in and of itself. So you need to make sure that you are always on assignment. He said, it's not up to me to beat up Tone, but I got to tell him the truth. That's his assignment. His assignment is, when I see you going astray, the Bible tells us that we are to pick our brother up. To do that will save a multitude of sins. Because just like Pastor KL said, it's a domino effect. Everything we do has a domino effect. You know, I think about one of the things that Pastor KL said is the fact that sometimes God will keep things under the radar for the greater good. He will. I've watched God not expose things because it would hurt more people than it would to help them. And that's why we have to trust God when things do finally come out. Because it's why would God let that happen? God always has a plan. We may not ever understand it. We may not ever see it, but God always has a plan, and he needs to use you. He needs to use you. What in your life has been so paramount that you can now, your testimony can help change lives? Again, I can't even imagine the amount of lives that are shifted just from Donnie McClurkin coming out and saying this stuff here. This, as a pastor, as a leader, he's revealing a lot of stuff that other people would keep secret because, oh my God, I just couldn't let that out. You know, I just said yesterday about how I wanted to hide an experience that I had and how God had to tell me, you know, No, I'm sorry. I didn't allow you to go through that so that you could keep it to yourself. I need to be able to use you and that story. And I can't tell you how many people have said to me, man, if you could go through all of that and you are still where you are, or you're larger in your faith, you're stronger, you're more confident, then I got to find that. But had I not said it, then people would be scratching their head trying to figure out, well, how Pastor Steph get there? You know, we don't get here on our own. We get here from our experiences and what we allow those experiences to do for us. What are you doing to help God in this process of winning souls? We have an earthly responsibility. God will do what he needs to do from heaven, and we do what we need to do from earth. We are put here and sent here for one another. No man is an island. You know, all these people, I ain't gonna say nothing, just, they got to learn like I learned. Oh, whoa, wait. That can't be your outlook on things, because how were you drawn to Christ? You just didn't, wake up one day and say, I want Christ, and nobody was an example. No, God used somebody for you. Now let God use you for somebody. All of this deep way of thinking and this complexity, we are coming into a time where God has blessed some of us to understand some real intricate stuff. But I have to be honest with you, this world needs the simple side, because they are too weighed down with life to try to understand what it is that you're saying. Simply put, I can't tell you how many people just say, it's almost like going to the doctor. He knows all the terminology. He knows what he's saying and what that means. But when he relays it to you like that, then it's like, okay. I remember when my mother used to go to the doctor, and she used to come back and she used to tell us what they said. We'd be like, what? Or we'd ask a question and we'd be like, what? Wait, just call us when you get to the doctor. Let him tell it to us, because we'll know the right questions to ask. Well, because she'd come home so confused. She would not come home. She'd be like, Stephanie, I don't know what that man said. And we'd be cracking up. But that's the way people are feeling when they're talking to some leaders, some evangelists, some ministers. You're talking over their head, and they say, I don't know what the person said. It sounded good, but I don't know what it means. Imagine being sick and having cancer, and you saying to the doctor, okay, so what do I need to do? And he starts talking all of this medical jargon. And you're sitting there and you're going, well, I might as well just go ahead and die, because I don't know what it is you said I need to do. That's us. As deliverers of God's word, we need to keep it simple. Not talk to people like they're stupid, but keep it simple enough so that people understand what they need, how they need to change their life. Give it to them on a level that they can understand. Doing all of this talking and using all these big words, that may not be for that person. And I'm gonna be honest, for the majority of this world, that's not for them. People just need to know, why do I need to come to church? Why do I need to be saved? You keep telling me I need Jesus. Well, why do I need Jesus? Well, when you keep talking above their head, they don't understand what you're talking about. So we have a responsibility to disciple and to speak exactly like Donnie McClurkin is speaking, because he broke it down. Ain't nobody scratching their head. He broke it down. He said, when I needed and let off that bench right there, I'm thinking I'm getting help, but yet There was nothing about what he said that a 12-year-old could not understand. And that's why he said you need to talk to your children. You need to talk to your children. You need to talk to your people. You just need to talk. You need to get it out. All of this hiding and shame, that stuff does not work. That stuff is not going to help to save a life. That you're missing why God needs to use you and how God needs to use you. I have heard so many people talk with all of this big, and I get it. But I'm saying to myself, okay, so outside of me, who gonna understand what you're saying? No, you have to be practical and let God's people know, I understand you. I got you. Listen, I come from the projects. I know how they talk. Yo, I was on crack. I know how they talk. I was drinking. I know how they talk. You know, I was a gambler. I know how they talk. I know how they think. Now, I have not gambled, drank, or used crack. But what I'm saying is, you need to speak their language. So, kudos and thanking God for Donnie McClurkin and his talking and his openness, his willingness, his transparency, his aching to see others delivered. Because that's what's going to matter. That is what's going to matter. Let's get the job done, and let's get it done properly. You've been watching It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Join us Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. where we discuss matters of the heart, mind, and spirit as you go through your day. Be sure to set your mind on things that are above, not on things that are on the earth. They will only serve as a distraction. Remember, prayer changes things. It's Pastor Steph signing off, and I want to thank my Due Time crew for always coming through big time. Thank you for hanging out with us and helping us do what we do. Thanks for keeping that chat room live. Listen, subscribe, hit that notification bell, press like, share, and tell a friend. Please do not miss this opportunity to give Christ your life right now. Please do not miss this opportunity to strengthen that relationship with the Lord right now, because later is not promised to any of us. Until tomorrow, God spares, where it's Wow Wednesday. Until then, I love you.